I guess today I'm gonna just demo you how to build a run-on application for an Integromat. Uh, Usually, I just follow Integromat's developer. They do have some detailed introduction to how to um, go and build the Integromat and everything. You can just go for getting started. No, I'm sorry. That's so read the docs. These are how they're gonna specify how you can use the whole structure and stuff. Now, what's the benefit of building an Integromat? I would say if you just want your API to be working with Integromat, that's the only reason you want to build an Integromat. And why you want to work in Integromat? If you're going to be solely working on integrations, I would suggest that Integromat is a great platform to go on with it. That's I've been using Integromat to write my own microservices. I just use it like an AWS functions, a Lambda function, like that. I build small microservices inside the application that can do the whole thing. And for that to need it, I can use the web module, but having that drop down menu, drop down to enter the fields that API needs, rather than going back to the guide and entering the body of the web request app, which where you can make mistakes and stuff. That's where the real usefulness comes in, and you can easily dump it off to someone who doesn't have a developing developing knowledge. They can still go on with it, and that's the way. That's the main reason you want to build it within Integromat. Do I still build? You guys might have a question. Do we want to build this one, or we can build a Node.js application? Previously, before I was introduced to Integromat, I was used to. I wrote a lot of web services using .NET and a lot of REST APIs using Node.js to do the stuff. Like I have an API that builds out of the Node.js. But even though to use that API, I need some application like a middleware application that connects these port systems. For that, I need to write the whole Node.js or whatever application I'm going to choose. That's going to take a lot of time to consume. But with this Integromat, you can just do it in minutes or within a day. Like even it's a more things, the more complicated one. What programming language? So that might be the one I would say is very useful of usefulness of Integromat. And I think Peter asked me a question for like, can I explain more about how what's the difference between a private app and a public app? Uh, Private app is just you develop it. You can write your own code, like a authentication code, where you gonna see if that user is authenticated to use it, or it can be internal. To go public, there's a guide that they specify how you want to go and how can you make it public. You need to follow those things, and that gives you go. And Integromats make it easier because they have these two applications like MailerLite and Tumblr. These are two applications that are right now like a real applications uh, in the Integromat, and you can actually get a good idea of how this thing is, how to set up each connection, how to have different parts of an API go to different things. What's an IML function? So if you have any ever an doubt of it, you can just search through these two things. This goes by. This is a simple one. It just has it's an authentication, the connection for it, and where it's gonna do the search. That's the premises of it. These are the help guides I use because their guide is good, but there are some things when you're developing you need to know what you need to be developed and stuff. Then sometimes you just need help of it, and that's gonna help you guys. And you can go a small one. They do have an apps SDK if you want. It's in markets, VS Code. If you guys are using a lot, I feel this is a better way to develop it. If you're a developer, if you're familiar with the VS Code environment, which is easy, super fast, you can use it. So I would say, uh, if you're familiar with it, go for the SDK. It's the better option. You can copy paste things. It's so much easier. It makes it awesome to use it. And as I mentioned, there are, once you're logged in, you have access to open source apps. Like you can go to this all open source apps that you can use it. And yeah, like in the SDK, like I mentioned, MailerLite and Tumblr or Slack. These are like open source apps that's been built by Integromat. They give you an option such a way that, okay, I have a Slack, but I want to add my custom code, custom functionality in the Slack that my company needs that will be used in Integromat. You can use it, you can develop on it and deploy it into your private instance of Integromat. And if you guys are going big, I would suggest you can contact with Integromat. They have a big push. They have a big push to go. They have a big push to go create clients on their own instances where they provide a really good support, and you get the latest version. The Integromat is coming up with 2.0, which is supposed to have a lot of good features. And this is a well-documented guide. It just shows you how you can integrate with an SDK. I would suggest avoiding creating an app from an SDK. As I said before, I'm saying over my words, but it's much easier to develop on create the application in the web and then just go and you develop the code in there. When you're developing, I would say this is another tool that will be really useful. It's an Integromat dev tool, which is this thing right here, and this is how it's gonna be very helpful. Is if you're never in an Integromat, let's say I have a scenario. Let's go for one of my scenarios. These are all interactive ones. This is one of the applications that I just built in to learn how to build these things. These are all the modules I did built in where it searches, creates, and gets the files. And if I see the Integromat, there's this tab called Integromat where you can see there are no events, but if I run, if I go back, I'm gonna just say, if I say, I'm gonna click it and I'm gonna say run this module. When I did that, and if you can see, you can actually see the web request that's been made to the, you can see how there is a request that's been made and what's the data that's been written from the actual request, rather than, this is the same thing. If you click on it, this is the same thing, but it's the raw body that a web request to send to you, and that's where you see it. You go back, that's Integromat tool, dev tool that I said. It's very useful, even though you're not working on a code or anything. It's just so useful that you have like scenario debuggers where you can see the operations for each one of them, where it went wrong. And there are like few things, these things like useful. You can make color changes, highlight an app, remap a source, like these kind of things. These are just useful in development. If you go to basics, it's just how the services are working, and this thing goes on a super level kit where this is just an get request that's taking and getting a result of it. How you take that and how you can make the application. This is which I'm gonna go in 1 second. These have everything, how you want to customize it, creating a new connection, how this happens. Like everything is detailedly explained, and this is the one thing in this application. In this video, I might just go on creating, but this is, if you want to go your application to the public, these are the must things that you wanna, these are the guides you wanna practice. Otherwise, they don't let you publish without anything. Like there are something, label shouldn't contain a word that says Integromat, and you should always have watch events, creating a report. Making a call is just like, you need to have a one, every app should have a connection where if you're not providing a certain paths, the make a call is like a webhook connection where they're just gonna put it in. Why it's a webhook connection? Like let's say, I'm gonna go, today's demo is with, I'm just gonna do our videos with NASA APIs. So let's say I'm building a NASA API and I built for getting a palestro on my picture Earth. I built everything, but I didn't build few things that I don't think is necessary for everyone. Like let's say I don't know who wants to get exoplanet archive database, so I didn't build it. So let's say, but there's one of the users that want to use this exoplanet, which my app never supported. So make an API call. They can click this, and this is an API. I mean, if you come down, this is an API where you can make and get it. And this, they can just use this thing to pump in data and get the information too. Using that to make an API call. I can explain in detail if you want to go over this basic class, base make a call class. Let me know. And triggers are instant triggers. Triggers are basically there are two kinds of triggers. One is an instant, one is a trigger. One is watch. Watch happens the same way, like it watches for that changes the. You should be for watch events. You need to write your module in a way that it looks up. It makes a call every 5 minutes and sees that what's changed in 5 minutes, like a last modified by 5 minutes, last modified within you get that calls. That's the watch. Instant is where I think you guys have your API to create webhooks, where when you put it in, it goes and creates webhooks and webhooks to a particular database. Actions are just regular CURD actions, CR CURD. They create, read, update, delete actions. Search, just a regular search things. Yeah, if you go, you guys can go down this module where it explains what it is. And this is the app availability where you have it. You have a option to go invite basis when you think you're ready and you want to go for a beta testing. You can kill this thing. And available for the user is when you do this, it's going to trigger a review committee from Integromat where they're going to go through your code and see that you don't have any malicious code or anything, and they make sure that you're following their best practices. This is one of the tools that they have it, but I never tried it. Never worked for me in my cases. It says you can actually import an API that you built in Postman, and if it's uh, properly structured, like a proper thing, like an Instagram or anything, then it will automatically create your modules and stuff. So that's where it is. I never did this thing, but if you guys want it, we can go over with it. An app review, as I mentioned, that's where it goes, and that's it. So now I'm gonna just create NASA API, which I'm gonna do it in Integromat for the NASA API. The way I would develop is I have a one scenario where I can, when I add it something, I can drag and drop, and you can search. If you see it now, uh, if you see it now, there's no NASA API. There's no NASA API or anything. That's it. So that's that. So I'm gonna build it my own. I'm gonna click here. So this is, I'm just gonna open it in my, I'll go to my apps. These are all the samples. These are the public APIs I have available. I think it's not available yet. This is one of the codes. I have it. And this is one of my app where I have everything. I have it. And I go to maps. You can actually use all these things if you ever stuck and you see a similar call in any of these APIs. You can actually go back and look, and you can develop your app. It's an easy one. So I'm just going to say create a new app. I'm going to call NASA. I can put in a thing. And this is the color theme, usually how you want to do it. And I'm just going to grab a random next code. I'm going to take that. I like the color. And that's it, English. And where you, if you want to specify into a particular ones, you can do it. You can add your colors and stuff over here for the logo. For now, I don't have anything. Alright, this is NASA. So that's where it's gonna create a private API. And this is your app. You can actually do it. And this section is the base connection. The base connection used to be whatever your appending call, the front of your appending call is. So I'm going to do it for NASA. So my base connection would be until the GOV1. That's where my base connection would be. Just give me a second. Like for this one, if I say it, and this is what it has, it's a get request that goes from planetary.probe, whatever it is, it's coming later. But my base connection is I'm making a call to api.nasa.gov, and it can have subroute, subpaths, or parameters or anything. So I go back and I will just say this is my base connection, and this is not it. You can actually add this thing in here. So if there is a subpath you're going to do it, that's when you take it. And this is the one important thing I wanted to mention. This log unit, this will log whatever request that's been sent in the console. So make sure if you put, so whenever you say log, and I'm saying, hey, log this, and I'm asking it to, let's say, log request.headers, but I'm saying whenever you log it, sanitize. That means always remove request.headers.authorization, so the requests are never put into your console request. So that's one of the important thing. Use sanitize where you don't want to see anybody in the world can see the inspect element and just do the console. You should always sanitize your request. Just use the sanitize only when you're in development mode, but please make sure you check you're sanitizing your header requests. The common data is just, it's a common thing that refers to what it says. It's a common dot variable. You can put your common things on here, API keys or secrets, contain sensitive information, and it can shade across all the modules how you want to save it. So I'm going to save it. So it's been saved. So this is the base of it. I'm saying, hey, this is my base URL, and this is how it's going to be. You need to log this, log it, but don't never. It's always in the logs. Always sanitize the authorization. The next part is connections. This is where you specify how you want to connect it. There can be multiple connections. You want to do it like an OAuth authorization code, OAuth plus a refresh token, OAuth plus the client credentials, OAuth, or an API key, basic auth, or any other. For me, it's just an API key. I'm going to say create a connection. It creates a connection. And this is where you need to put in something. Well, like whenever you want to authenticate someone, this is where you put in where it can make a call and verify that, hey, this is a valid IP key. Most of the APIs today have their who am I or checking the authentication is valid before even making any request. So this is where you're gonna put in. For me, I don't have any, so I'm just gonna put in this, and I'm just saying, hey, do this, and you can see that it's actually putting in the headers headers, and this. For me, if you see the NASA API. So the NASA API, the authentication works in a simpler way where it's gonna do a question mark API. So I don't need to send it in headers. I can remove it because that's not where it's gonna take it. And I can do this, and I know this is how my thing works. API dash key. And this is the syntax for them. Parameters. So I'm saying this is where you can go and search for it. Log. Oh, I just forgot. This is my request. I'm just gonna copy it. So it's gonna say equal to this, equal to, you just put it in double quotes. It thinks that it needs to get something. Parameters dot key, API key, or I'm just gonna say for our sake, I'm just gonna call it key, and I'm just gonna say I don't want anything in headers. I'm gonna say you can even put your common variables thing here, so it saves it. And if I go to parameters, this is how it's expecting, but I've named mine as a key, so I'm just gonna say, hey, this is key. It can be a text. I can say API key required. So we created like an authentication and a simple connection for now. So how this is gonna work in a real application. I can go here, I can check this, and loads up. I'm just gonna say NASA, oops, sorry. So that's already there, that's good. And now I'm just gonna create a module that says, it's an action that's going there. And it's going to use the simple connection. You can specify it, and it's reading. You can just get picture, because that's what I'm just going to call that whatever they have it over here. Astronomy picture of the day. I'm just going to call this astronomy picture of the day, and I'm going to say save. So that I'm just going to copy this. Save it. They saved. It's actually gives you a good boilerplate, but we don't need it. So I created until the prod.go is this one. So more module, I'm saying this is the path to go for the module. So I'm just going to say this. I'm going to put it in because I already have the slash in it, and I just do it. And if I go in here, and it's a get request, so I'm going to say let's say get, and there are no query strings that will be attached there. Body, I don't have anything. You can actually put in a body in here. For now, I don't have anything, so I'm just going to say nope, no body in here. Headers, nothing. And output, I just say, hey, parts of the output from the webhook. That's it. And if you go here, these are the static parameters, where if you want to pass in some parameters that are always static, you can just send it here. And these are the actual mappable parameters. These are the ones you actually see it. For now, I'm just going to keep it for outside. I'm not going to use it anything. And for interfaces, it's expecting this output to be in this way. But if I say it, my interface is, if I say it, this is my interface. It gives me this. So that's not what I have. The cool part about Integromat is you can take this whole thing. I made a request. It already gave me the information. That's it. And you can just say, no, this is not my thing. And I can just say generate. And you can say the data structure, and you can give the sample, and you can say generate. And you can just copy it, close it, paste it. Super simple. It gets you what you have, and that's done. And so, wait, I did save everything, right? I did save. So I just need to save this thing too. Okay, now it let me go. So if I see it, it's there, and now I can use it. Now I can say refresh it, so my apps are reloaded again into this thing. So, see, it's not pulling it because I haven't pushed it to this. So I'm going to just invite on app basis, and it gives me this. And if I click on it, it's going to give me this, and I'm going to say start using. If an app is in new inventory, then it's going to push it to inventory of mine. Let's see. That's the NASA entry, and this is how it shows the discrimination say. And now it says, hey, add a connection. You might have seen it every time. It's the water. And if you remember it, if I go back, I can explain the whole thing again. It's asking me for a connection for API key. If you see this, and this is what I have, I said, give me an API key, because this is what it's asking. So I'm just going to give it my API key. And it's going to make a call in the background, and it's going to say, not a valid connection. This is where I usually try it. If I go to my, let's see, cancel it, cancel it. If I can go to inspector, I'll just keep it to the click on it didn't make a connection because it thought that the API key is not good. Now if you see it, okay, good. Testing connection, and it stand out. It did stand out that line dot. So it didn't like the way I sent in the parameter, and if you see it, it's actually called key. But so something's wrong with my API key. So I'm just looking at the parameters. That's where the issue was. Go back. And I can say continue again. And maybe this time, if you saw it, it went through, it accepted a simple connection as a connection. If you test it, you can actually see the request, the new request coming here. And this is the one I talked about, like if we go back here, this is a connection, and this is the module we have, and if you look at the module, these are the mappable parameters that you have that you can do it. So that's that. So it's gonna make it, and then now I'm gonna just do, and I'm gonna say this is required, so I'm just gonna say test, and this does validation pretty well if you're looking at it, and I can just say test.com, and I can say no, I don't need this. Okay, now it's there. I'm just gonna clear out so we have it. So if you, whenever you do run once, so I'm gonna see test the way the module is working as expected. So it needs to make a call to the NASA database, and it should actually give me the picture of the day and needs to pass out the information. This will fail because the body we put in, that's not the way we want it to pass it out. You see it's actually made the body, and response was not retrieved. The general and the services in on reply, I think we might have not set up something. Okay, so it's spinning now. I'm gonna say import government dot import at API key. And now wait and put. Because we haven't used the connection dot thing over here. So we're gonna just do API underscore key equal to brackets. So we're not gonna use the parameters, we're gonna use the connection. Connection dot the key of the connection. And we're gonna save it. And we should run. By the way guys, this is first time trying this parameter key thing today. Yeah, it's not actually making it to the place we want. So that's why. That's why. That's why. I didn't back end it, so and that is it. Now it made a call. If it passed, I could take that. So that's a new thing I learned today. If you didn't pass it, it's not going to go to the base URL. If you didn't pass in the forward slash, and if you see it, it did pass out all the information that we have from NASA. So all the information that you can actually use down the road. Hopefully this helps to get you started on how to build the thing, and there are some deeper concepts to go in for more. Let me know if you like this video and if you like the structure and if you need anything changed, or if you want it to be fast paced or slow down a little. Just let me know in the next one. I will try to make it. I'm going to cut down for this one for a short, and hope you guys like it, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.